Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into Studio 10 Broadcasting. Let me hit my power button here. I have to catch up with everybody. There we go. Welcome into Studio 10 Broadcasting. We just might be actually not having to edit privacy. No, we got to go public. They screw with me all the time. Power button here. Amazing. Yeah, that's how it works. That's how it works. Well, come on in, everybody. Gather up. Wow, I hope you had a great day. As soon as this gets out on some post, we'll go a little further. It's Tuesday. Oh, wow, the week of Christmas, huh? A lot of plans for everybody? I have a few. Nothing major. But we'll see how it all plays out. Hey, Jeffrey's watching. Jeffrey, it's just me and you, brother. Merry Christmas to you and the family down there, and Pops and Damien and the kids. And I did see your sister-in-law out at T's in North Hills. You know what I'm talking about. I think your nephew was going to get a haircut. So anyway, hope you're good. Kind of a dreary night. Chilly out. It's chilly out. So, unexpected visit to the platform tonight. Got a little bored, thought I'd come on for a bit. A couple of people wanted to talk to me. I said, hey, if you want to talk to me, call me on the messenger, or and I'll plug you through. So we'll see if any of that takes place. Oh, Beth is going to watch. Jake Ham is going to watch. Hello, Jake Hammond. How are you, brother? Beth, how are you? The motorcycle queen. Good evening, Michael. Good evening, Beth. So, you got me in. Here I am. I don't know what Nancy was saying. It didn't come through. Anyway, we have a few people pop. Oh, there goes Nancy and Stephanie. Hi. And Jake. Good, brother. Good, man. Good. Anyway, Nancy, that's Jake. Stephanie, that's Jake. Beth, that's Jake. And to all you ladies, this is Jake. I'm sorry. We're just having a little bit of fun here. It's the holidays, right? I mean, how dark do we want to go? You caught me finally. Well, thank you so much for that, man. I really appreciate it. Bart and Randy J. Wow. Everybody getting ready for Christmas? You know, the most wonderful time of the year. Always remember that it's true. It's true. I mean, it's what you make of it. Not everybody celebrates it. I respect that. Good. I'm glad you're good, Stephanie. Thanks. I'm fine here. Everybody at Studio 10 is doing okay. All the people behind the glass. Jake from State Farm. Oh, come on. What are you guys doing? Deborah's even coming in. Starting to make me wonder. Someone's watching Studio 10. Michael Anthony. No, I'm just joking. You guys are a great support system. And remember, really, it's most of what you guys post is what I, try to get turned into as far as the information platforms. Maybe not everybody realizes it, but it's true. It's true. But I do bring up some narratives and some conversation. And right now, anybody know about the dark winter? The dark winter syndrome. No, it's not a social anxiety. You might want to type it into your computer while we're talking. It's actually a military thing about bioweaponry. And they call it, like the Dark Winter Project. And, with everything going on, you have to look into everything, especially if you're suspicious, like I am many times. I got to do a little correction here. Let me do something real quick. I didn't start with no music tonight, but I didn't think it was necessary, to be honest with you. I didn't start with no music tonight. There we go. It was necessary, to be honest. I'm just double checking the audio feed. That's all. That way it tells me that the microphones are all working and everything. I haven't had no more microphone issues. I really did get the bug out. I found it. Brand new cable. But anyway, the Dark Winter Project. Yeah, it's a bio thing, man. And for years, our military has been practicing within it and how to handle it more. I want everybody to look into it because there's a lot of purpose behind why I'm sharing that to everybody. And I'm going to talk more about it definitely tomorrow night on the YouTube Dark Radio Network Project. It'll be very informative. I don't want to make you rattle in your boots or cause any kind of havoc to anybody. That wouldn't be really cool. But, we got to lay the cards out on the table as to where we are in America and what we're all dealing with, because it's shameful. It's shameful. This Washington left, as I say quite often, it's devastating. They're toxic people. Good evening, Deborah Ann Myers. Okay, I just wanted to make sure you got that in case. That's why I was checking my microphone. I did say hello to you, but again, I just was narrating around that. So I put up on a thing, call in, give me a few minutes, and if any of you guys want to do it, you can do it. We keep each other company for a while, talk some scenarios. Does anybody hear about the 26-year-old trucker, man? He got 110 years for an accident. And then today, a little bit of weirdness. I don't know. Is somebody worried about the Trumpster? Could be. I don't know. The Trumpism may be setting a fire under the left in certain ways in his actions and in his words, because Biden may have gave him a little praise. It was kind of an interesting vibe. But again, Biden couldn't take any questions. They told Biden, don't take any questions if it's COVID related, Yeah, he might expose the whole team up there in Washington. Forget he ain't supposed to tell anybody. I think he'll be in conversation with Soros or Rothschilds or Obama, part of his dream team special tactic force up there that they have. In Pittsburgh, O'Hare, I want all you guys to hear about this in Pittsburgh. All right, so it comes out on the news today. And I know this ain't in your area, but I got to deliver this because I do get some Pittsburgh audience that sees this after I'm on. A lot of people don't catch me in the evenings. They really can't. And they catch me during the day when they're working for a while, like a radio show. But the Pittsburgh schools have a $56 million deficit. Makes you wonder how that happened last year. Well, everything was closed and they saved on power and lower running utilities and things of that nature. Or maybe it had something to do that they had to pay off a guy who actually laid on his resume, only did a couple years in his position, maybe 2-3 years in the position on the school board. And then they even found out he was using school funds to take trips with. He gets paid off. Amazing. But this just might be where he didn't expect it to go. And it might happen in your school district. Do you remember the lockdown? Come on, we all had them. In this lockdown, everybody got computers. I'm just wondering if we're flipping that bill now. $56 million deficit in the Pittsburgh school thingamajigger. I'm sorry. I'm trying to pay everybody attention. I'm running two things at once on this little microprocessor that I have sitting in front of me. But that blows me away. I think you guys are going to have to pay for all the goodies there, And that's sad. That's sad. It shouldn't be, like that. But again, there was money's allocated. Why are they $56 million in the hole? I mean, teachers that were laid off were getting paid, and some of them were even getting compensated with pay and unemployment and in ways. It's mind-blowing how in 1 year or a year and a half-ish that we went $56 million in the hole. But it happened. I mean, if they're reporting it, remember, local news is not considered always fake news. But there's something more going on. Musk, he's going to have to pay $11 billion in taxes and doesn't even mind it. So, you have that out there. This fentanyl issue that no one ever talks about. It's like in America, like wildfire. And it's all being presented and watched through, the Biden crime family, China. Truth. I mean, how's it all getting here? You know, we busted ships and containers and everything else with enough to kill the whole United States. So they put it in pill forms and they blame it on something called, what is it, MS-13? Yeah, put the blame to somebody else. But you know what? You might be really, really shocked to find out that MS-13 may not be what anybody ever thought it was. Is it truly a gang? Okay. And this is no joke. This is no joke. Do they exist over there? Is corruption and crime there? Mafia style and just, you know, these young guys and hoopties with the guns. And hey, I give you guys all the respect out there. Don't come hunting me down. But no, the truth of the matter is, it's come to me that that's probably not what we're all talking about here. That's a diversionary term that Trump was using because he's fighting a different element, was fighting a different element. And he always mentioned them. And he always said how bad they were. It's pretty amazing. I'll take you down that little rabbit trail tomorrow night. I guarantee you I will. So just keep in mind that MS-13 might not be exactly what you think it is, for real. What else I got here? Oh, yeah. One of the other big things here. They'll do anything to talk you into acknowledging the fact that your loved one died from COVID. So they could have had cancer and died, but if they had any symptoms at all, or even if the PCR test was false, if you allow them to change the death certificate, if they would ask you, you're entitled to $9,000 from the Biden administration. Why is that so important? I mean, no, really, I'm asking you, why is that so important? They want the numbers up. $9,000. $9,000 you might be eligible to. And listen, for families out there that are suffering, that don't have a lot, and there's many out there, and I got things to talk about on that too that just are really irritating the hell out of me, on how this narrative of judging over Keller is still so widely misrepresented, and not even that in total, but the fact that they utilize it to keep this war going that doesn't even exist. But it does exist in their minds, but not in the minds of the people out there. So, you know, we're up against that. Now, why does any of this even happen? Well, if you go back in time, okay, and you think about the little young man who I told everybody about last night, you know, and the $275 million that Fox is going to have to pay this kid. You remember he was in eye-to-eye contact with the Indian, beating the drum and so forth. Peaceful stuff going on, but NBC got in his face, and he was all over this poor Indian who was there to represent his people, as if a white culture person wasn't there to represent the same reason why everybody was there. So they're going to pay that, you know, money. And then the big hit, the George Floyd thing. That's when the BLM did the kickoff in many ways. If you really think about it, that's when they started to create the precedent of all the lies and the Kellers and all the, come on, man. But still, it's where it started. Go back, do the research. I did. I verified dates, times, how things started, and it was right in that flow. It was really right in that flow, and that was the major kickoff. You know, and I'm calling it hoax and lies because that's exactly what has supported this whole system of this bullshit. And that's where we're at when we have this black and white. And then don't forget, you can't leave out the Chinese people were getting beat up by white gangs. But that narrative soon really just bailed and fell off. And, you know, even more so, did you ever see a Chinese restaurant advertised truly on TV or anything? No, they don't do it, man. They stay to themselves. They're good people. They have great food. They have a great culture for the most part. And they want nothing to do with this whole CCP and all the other criminal activities that go on in China. You know, you guys might not know this, but if you look at a $100 bill, remember when they put the blue stripe, they did the change? Well, look what's on the left and look what's on the right of the blue stripe. Diagnose it. We're going to talk about it. It's mind-blowing. I guarantee you. And why that $100 bill was so important to change was because Obama made a deal with China and reneged on it. And then Clinton and Obama, you guys probably don't know nothing about what I'm talking about. All right, but the truth of the matter is this. They made a deal, and it had to do with gold, which the United States had none of. So they had these things made up, and basically they were gold leafed at a very, 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 very cheap rate. And China busted them on it. And then China's demanding money. And this was some of the parts of how the ties started to change and who was in bed with who. And that's kind of like where that start happened too. A lot of people don't know about that. So yeah, what they did was basically started almost a war between China and us. Now, if you really think about it, have you ever watched the Chinese? With some of these videotapes that we see, how they walk like so, don't they look kind of robotic? I mean, really, think about it. How every movement is so perfect. Are they even real? What we're watching there? And I'm not trying to say this is, all been tampered with technology and digital this and digital that and influence here. But if you do look at it, it makes you wonder, are they even alive? Some people say, and I don't know if this is true, but they claim the cloning started happening in the 50s. And why am I bringing this up? Because it's kind of a funny story, the truth of the matter. That they were that far in advance on figuring out a lot of technology. And maybe you want to believe it because I brought it up the other day too. But they say, if you want to identify a clone, pour water on its head. Do you remember the ice bucket challenge? There was a reason that all took place. I guarantee you, they were being called out and challenged in a way through a dark president, you might want to say, a shadow president now that we have. And anyway, that's the claim. According to people who work in this technology, said that they're so good as to how they can fool you with these clone type things. Okay. Now I've never witnessed one, but I haven't tried to throw water on one's head. But anyway, they're saying if they get water on their heads in any way, shape, or form, they will just basically sizzle out. It ground shorts them somehow. I don't know. Pretty bizarre. And I don't know if that's real. I'm just saying that's information that's out there. But check into the $100 bill, the line. I think Franklin's on the left. And then you have some other stuff on the right. And there's a division there. And it was placed there for a reason. And it kind of has to do with, Masons and Masonic and things of that nature. So check it out. Pull one out. Take a look at it. Observe it. I got one that's like 100 years old. I got it when I sold the car long time ago. And I thought it was just fascinating, this bill to look at. It's been in my wallet ever since. Kind of like a good luck piece. Has it brought me good luck? Maybe in ways it has. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. The last time I was in China, the military marched every morning very early past our hotel. And okay, cool. I get it because I know that, and I don't want to bring up anybody's personal business, but this young lady's husband did things, okay? And she can divulge that if she wants to. But, I mean, did they even look real? You know, how firm and how steady that they walk? Because there's a lot of stuff coming out now that, I don't know, I'm just saying that a lot of stuff we see, and everybody believes that there's all these masks. And yes, masks, silicone masks are phenomenal what they can do to make someone look like somebody else. But is it possible to really, that most of what we see on TV and ways of this is all just false narrative lies of, you know, this new robotic life forms that they're creating over these past years? I don't know. And I'm not trying to get into it really deep. Shit, George Washington was a Mason. Well, yeah, I mean, so's Trump. But, you know, you have things like that and they occur like that. And we learn about things like this. You are so right. Very form and step. Yeah, right. I'm telling you, you know, there are military intel people who we use as they use people called spies. And they make friends. They all deal money. They all handle a lot of money. And let's face it, one of the main reasons that we got lockstepped on our heads was because some of our leaders of the left made a deal with China and allowed the student programs to start. And they all came here to learn our technologies. Believe it or not, some stupid stuff happened that they never even thought about could happen. And then these young kids come in with brilliant minds. They make sure who they send over is already got a lot of education in their belts. And the possibility of their ages being lied upon, their names being lied upon, and more. Probably trying to find somebody who's 25 years old that looks like he's 19 or 20, which it can happen. That's not a hard thing to do. And they would, the student program thing, you know what I'm talking about. So they come to school here, and they were learning all of our technologies and taking it back to China. And now China is neck and neck with America. And there's no doubt they are very close. They are very close. And if what we are seeing, what is being claimed to be the truth, that has come out very strong recently, is the fact that some of these military things that we see marching down the street so uniformly correct are all pre-programmable entities of a different. So anyway, I thought I'd share that with you. And check out the $100 bill thing. And remember, all this black stuff really seems to me that it's still coming out. People of color, excuse me, in many ways, because cultures mix of different. I mean, gosh, there's yellow, there's white, there's brown, there's black. And in some cases they're not, but they call them that. And I want to give them the respect to do it also. It's just bizarre. It's just bizarre. So don't forget about the George Floyd and all that stuff where it happened. And they're starting to fail there. There's a failure upon us. It's happening without a doubt. There's no doubt there. But what concerns me more is how much drugs are coming in and no one's talking about. And that's the truth. And it's coming from very strong voices and very strong places that have the information. And they even said, just in general conversation to me, because I belong to a couple of groups that you can't even really get into anymore. And I was lucky enough to be in them for years. And they were all saying, wow, we see you on there. We don't come in a lot, but you're never bringing it up. I have brought in the fentanyl crisis. I have the best I could. And we do have a serious problem. I even talked about last night some of the settlements, and the judge said that the monies weren't even high enough to compensate the people for the deaths and the illnesses, the treatments that people had to go under for the Oxycontin and more. And it's just mind-blowing. Look at Turtle Man, his wife, who did the bang bang with the fang. Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the giant turtle story from back in the 1940s. That's the first thing that came to mind is when you said that. I can make a long story short here and just entertain you guys for a minute with this story. So it was a farmer. He wanted to be a farmer. He bought a farm, a lot of land and everything. And his thing was to farm, make money, be independent. And there was a big, big lake on this property. He had a lot of acreage, and the lake was of acreage as well, like 6 or 7 acres, I believe. That's a big lake on a property, and everybody would love to have something that size. But we all can't. But I'm sure it was fabulous. He comes across in the lake like a prehistoric turtle of immense size. And his whole life changed. He had to get this turtle. He wanted to do, honest to God, true story. It's out there. And he lost his farm over trying to capture this turtle. He tried everything. Tried pumping the water out of the lake. He thought if he could get it shallow enough, he could get him. Nothing worked. The turtle did defeat him. Maybe instead of just, selling tickets and having people come up to try to observe the turtle or feed it, he might have had success with, but he never thought about that. And they really don't go into the poundage or the size, but it's a long tail of this gigantic turtle. And I really can't even confirm how big it was because it wasn't something that I truly looked into, but it's a story that does exist where a man lost his life over a turtle. It's the God's truth. He just wouldn't give up. So maybe he should have called Turtle, bang, bang, fang with the little fang to get him out, because the Turtle Man's been pretty successful. And now, not to boot, the Turtle Man's hunting Bigfoot. Why does everybody go to hunt Bigfoot when they don't succeed on the platform that they started out on, these TV networks? Because there's something bigger and they go after it, I guess. You know what? Even here, it looks, I don't know, they camouflaging my shirt out on me. Sometimes I get that. If I have one of my UFC things on, it has my name on the back, by the way. But if I have anything like that on, I'll see like a buzz through it, you know, because they do that kind of stuff. You can't say nothing about this guy. You can't talk about that guy. You know, I want you guys to think about something. Let's talk about just for a quick second here, because some things came up last night and I was asked a question. It had to do with life after death, because, you know, here we are in this crisis, and we talk about the children, and the children are the future. And we talk about it in some cases, that, you know, there is a thing as reincarnation. You want a Bigfoot to adopt you. Yeah, you just want to hold on to that big furry guy. I know. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that with you, Beth. All right. I know where your head's in the gutter right now. You quit looking at Santa Claus or something. I don't know. But energy never dies. You might die as a body and have failure. But the one thing about the element of energy, because there's different energies, not like the type that you create through, you know, nuclear and coal and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, if it stops coming to where you plug in to get your power from, everything dies. Well, you're an element of a different type of energy, okay? And those types of energies are different in the universe, and that's the truth. And that's why the existence of that continues. Maybe that will make this young lady feel a little bit more comfortable, and knowing that this energy of light of who we are as a person doesn't die as electricity when lightning strikes a pole and you lose your power. It doesn't happen like that. Just saying, that's the way it's been described to me by people who do all this stuff. It's pretty mysterious, you know. It's a great conversation piece, though. I just wanted to get that out there. So, yeah, maybe we're living in a whole world of clones anyway, and maybe everybody will look into it, and I'll keep posting some things that'll give you some direction. Always remember, make up your own mind on it and think about where you are. But right now we're in Christmas, and we're still fighting holy hell all over the place, you know, and it's the truth. So, you know, New York is really in a bad way, Izzy, and you know that. I want to give you some information that might help you at least reflect into a time of a better place. I know that you have, I believe you told me you have a son up there working and whatnot. There used to be a 3-letter enforcement agency up there called the SIU, and they were in New York. And New York needs them now, to be honest with you, because they suppress everything of the bad that's going on, and it's much worse there, just like California is. And then, you know, just this past weekend in Chicago, 4 more deaths, 19 shootings, 19 injuries with that. So, yeah, it's happening everywhere. It really is. It's, again, the media is still not doing their job. They're playing these games. And the SIU did not play games. When it came to them, you knew you were going to get it when they showed up. And they had no rules under the laws in the United States of America. And they were developed to clean up the drugs and the gangs. And they were very successful when they worked. You might want to look into them because it's just an interesting topic of story. They were called the SIU program of New York City. And they were a bunch of mean old bastards. I'm telling you. All I know is yeah, I get it. I get it, sweetheart. I really do. I hear you. And we all want out of where we are. Isn't the grass always greener on the other side? I just explained what was going on in Pennsylvania and our public schools, our school system, tax school system, $56 million in debt. Didn't even use the schools last year. But I guess we're paying for the computers and everything now that was supposed to be done through the United States government with appropriated monies. I guess we're just missing a lot of funds in Pennsylvania. but we're not missing the guy that left. You know, the one that was in control of the school board here system. He turned out to be not so good by any means. Okay, read Hawkins, A Brief History of Time. Okay, I'll do my best to do that. I don't always have all the time in the world. Whatever you sent me, Nancy Vincent, and I appreciate that you sent me things. I really do. I don't know what it was, but it didn't come through. It explains a lot about energy and beings. Oh, okay, I got you. The Hawkins theory. All right, now it makes sense. For a minute, I thought you were talking about one of the young ladies in the research group. Her name is Hawkinson, and I'm thinking, wait, am I getting this right? Am I getting it wrong? And she's a rock star, by the way. She does a lot of work, helps a lot of people. I think she's MIA right now, but it is the holidays. So, you know, breakaway, why not? The Germans did it, breakaway civilization and more, you know. And what was that all about, too? Germans truly weren't blonde hair, blue eyes. What was the fragment of beings? DNA, coding, creating, beautiful, slender, muscular, fit soldier boys and women. Truthfully, not a joke. And I guarantee you, they have something to do with this whole circle of a mess that we're living in, narrating through, because there's a lot of gold and money and things that happened. And I assure you, their hands are in it deep, going under different identities and maybe still hiding in the Antarctic in a place called New Swaben. That does truly exist. And yeah, so you have a whole German race of, you know, blonde hair, blue eyes, like sometimes referred to the tall blondes. And I really wonder when they mention that as far as an alien race, are they really reflecting to what was able to happen with the book of information? Remember, there's books, so many books. All right. The Bible even tells you not all books were used, and the narratives and stuff. And there's one Bible I think everybody should look into. Doesn't get talked a lot about. I'll probably pronounce it wrong, to be perfectly honest with you. And I think it's spelled Lasbee, Lsb, the Lsb Bible. Take a look at that. There's some really mind-blowing information in there. And also in the Old Testament, if you get towards the end, did you know that Donald Trump's name's in it? I just thought I'd let you know. And there's other people of names that have also, throughout time, their names have been in the books. And back around 50 years ago, not 50 years ago, around 1990, I came across this information. I thought it was rather interesting. Check this out. And I mean, check this out. No shit here, okay? There was like a sci-fi magazine that was on. And it had a period of Trump's timeline and life in it. And it dictated a story as well as imagery. Now, mind that. We're just seeing it now, how we can make ourselves look old now. So now I want you to jump back 30 years ago and say to yourself, somebody had this information already in place and the technology was there. I'm just saying, but fact, you can go into some of these magazines that are out there and question the fact how they wrote Trump's life into presidency, and the pictures are mind-blowing. Done 35 years ago. Ish. Early 1990s. Yeah, so anyway, okay. You get where I'm coming from. This is no lie. This is for real stuff, okay? I'll get you the name if you want to check it out, and then you can try to get a hold of it. But it's out there. It does exist. It's out there. It does exist. So, yeah, we see about, we're just living in so much. And then, you know, when you go into the real details, me talking about the Nazi Germanys and the blonde hair, blue eyes and stuff, this number of 6 million, and I know that's been widely used. And to me, I'm just going to tell you, it doesn't look anything like that on documentation. Why the numbers were so blown up, I don't know. Yeah, well, a lot happened. Very bad happened. Should have never happened. There were things in place that did occur like that, but not in the numbers that have been pushed. Okay. And there's information out there to back that up. There's family information and documentation that backs it up. But I'm not saying that these things didn't happen. But it's not the 6 million that people talk about, or in some cases, some people say it's, and there's a 60 millions. And so, anyway, keep that in mind. It's not there. I'll be happy to pretty much throw anything I can your way. And I want to just say, I'm going to talk about this MS-13 thing. I I don't really think a lot of us caught this, but it's time to let you guys know. And I'll just say 4T Santa 5 could be a very important event. Okay, I'm just going to leave it to you like that, and I can't talk about it no more. But if you see it out there, because I'm writing some stupid things, it's an indication of something I was told to let come out, and I don't even know why. And you're not going to question it. They just said go with it, and it'll be a good thing. And I don't know. I am hearing through the dark military web that some amazing things are supposed to happen. Christmas. Look, I'm not trying to put dates in place here. Everyone's failed so far. But do you know 10-6? I talk about 10-6. So count on your fingers in alphabetical order, A, B, C. Get to 10. And then go to the SIXTH. And it's actually a date being presented. But I want you to know it's actually the Orthodox Christmas Eve. And let's keep that in mind because Christianity's on the line. Okay? So there's some narratives being fed out there right now that are humming. Okay? No lie. There's a buzz going on around the hum too. So you're getting like a double whammy here. Again, I'm saying nothing of anything and a way to try to create everybody to like, bam, I knew it was going to happen. Okay, I'm not saying that. I'm not. What I'm telling you is there's a chain of other issues involved, and then the message of 4T Santa S5, okay? That's all I'm saying. Look, bear with me. If anything else comes up, I will feed it to you. I swear to God, I will. Oh, I would say if something special is going to happen, put Mary in your Christmas. That was my first thing I was trying to come out with 30 days ago and was hoping people were seeing that Santa Claus slogans that I was doing. I was trying ever so hard and nobody was catching it. Maybe these 4 trees, and remember, pine is a protection of evil. The smell of pine, demons don't like it. 4 pines, okay, pines, 4 tree, okay, POTUS. 4, 5. Get it? Santa. 5. No? Yeah? Anybody getting it? Not a joke. Not a joke at all. I wouldn't put myself on the line that way. But I'm making no guarantees. It's something that I was told that should be shared now. And also, there's relevance when you look up that date that we know that was ever so bad when Trump had the largest speech in D.C. that day on certain things. That's actually a celebration of the Orthodox Christians Christmas Eve. I don't know why I say Christians. Okay, just came out wrong. But anyway, keep that in mind. Look up the dates, match them, because maybe this is some type of blend. And there's also information that's out there that said when Trump became president, even long before he ever even announced he would ever run, that he would go, he would represent, Jerusalem, and he would put his hand on a wall and make a claim. And he did. And this was all put in place like the Bible kind of insinuates, if you know how to read it and interpret a few sentences. And they're there and they're clear. So just trying to feed you some information. So over the holiday and this season of Merry Christmas, pray for the best to happen. pray for something more. Maybe that's why Biden sent a little praise in a certain way to Trump. That's what they're saying. I really don't watch it, but if I catch a gist of something, I'll look for a line and leave, and that's what I do. So yeah, why would he? It's almost like hey, help a brother out. Really? Maybe they're going down. I don't know. That would be a hell of a Christmas gift. But again, I make no guarantees. I can't do that. I'd be lying to everybody if I said it. What are you saying? If you're not getting it, then it's over your head and I can't help you. You need to try to breathe in everything I said and re-listen to the show. I'm not going to get into it again. I'm just not. And I'm not ready to discuss it anymore because I don't have anything more than what I have told you, Deborah. And I'm not trying to be rude. I don't. I was just asked to do what I did, and I did it. And if you look through everything that I post, that's the best I can tell you. He said, hold on, wait a minute. Lives on his way. I don't get what you're saying. You'll have to go offline and talk to me somehow tomorrow. Yeah, so anyway, keep into those things. Something else has been coming back up too. Okay, now this is going sci-fi, different way. I call them skyquakes, and I've experienced them. And we have heavy spraying above my wood shop. I mean, terrible, overhead spraying, like if they were trying to hide a hole in the sky. And I get these out of nowhere, like explosions. Like you would think you're in Florida, Cape Canaveral, where they're sending these, things, and you're only allowed to break the sound barrier in certain places of the world, and that's what they sound like. What I'm feeling from a lot of the psychic predictions and people talking to me and so forth that I do narrate around at times, and more so than that, government writings are saying it's a dimensional change. Isn't that pretty fabulous? So we've been wondering, what's all this stuff? Because in Canada, people were saying their shelves were getting rocked. And it has something to do, supposedly, with a change to our upper stratosphere, atmosphere. Because you got the one level, the next level, and then you go out and it's all corrupt, as they say, if it's really what's all up there. It's all radiation, and you can't even go through the Van Allen belt and so forth. And I've heard that for the longest point. You go through it, you die, Maybe that's not true. Because even if you look at as people say this, take this as an example. Have any of you ever heard of a water level or making a water level line? I did. I built decks that were really long, and I put water into a hose and I attach it at one side and go to the other side. Do you want to know why I do that? Water finds a perfect level, and it's the best thing in the world besides laser shooting now. And laser shooting, it's close. These guys are, neck and neck as far as being on. And these are the type of methods they used when we assumed that they used when they built some of the most ancient structures that are still standing ever so strong and with strength. So, yeah, water. I always said, watch the water. And if you don't believe me, you have to go back to look. That's all I can say. I always said, watch the water. I want you to keep doing that because there's big meanings behind it. And I think that's going to be purposeful for everybody to kind of like absorb and not try to understand it that way. So these skyquakes, anyway, if they are dimensional, and this is what we're hearing, breaks in dimensions, that's what I'm being told. What's coming in? What's coming in then? What has the ability to do that? Because it seems to me that we have some double existence with something. I mean, where do these things come from that everybody talks about? And I'm not trying to go into haunted shit here. It's not where I'm going. I talk about it. I love it. I'm intrigued by it, but that's not what I'm doing. So let's talk about water level. Okay. Now, if we're round on the earth, okay, if we are truly round, and I talked about all this stuff a long time ago, I really have. It makes you wonder. Sea level finds a level. It finds a coast. It settles. The waves come in. The always go so high. They can be inaccurate by a couple inches, so forth like that. because other things do cause water to move in certain directions under disturbances from the ocean floor. Just things of natural causes can create a little bit, but not catastrophic. Now, if you were to put a cup of water in a bowl and you were to spin it, what would happen to the water? Ask yourself that. It bellies off to the sides. Now, if the earth moves at all these hundreds of miles an hour in space, just think about this. Why ain't all the water spilling out? Or why isn't this happening? I just thought I'd put that because it's intriguing. If you test the water and look at how water works and functions, finding perfect levels and more, if the world was truly run and we were more than 3/4 of the earth filled with water, wouldn't it like fall out into space somehow? I'm just saying, I'm not saying we're flat. I'm just giving you what I understand about water that makes me want to question a few more things. And I think we're being suppressed in that area as well, because they do talk about us in ways, and some of the government works and scientific works that our money paid for in project as a dome, as being in a dome, okay? And maybe it has like a slight opening somewhere, and that's how we get this, if we really do go to the moon and all the other good gully stuff that's with it. I imagine we do. I mean, I listened to John Lear. He was a CIA pilot that went up and drove some of the best highest flying planes ever made in his time, as well as the best performance and speeds. And he claims that years back we could get to the moon in 60 minutes, but they weren't ever going to show us things like that. So when you start to hear these things, it's like, if we're in some type of dome, and I don't know that we are, I'm just saying, maybe it's like an invisible shield. They do describe stratospheres and whatnot. I don't know what we're living in. All I know is it looks beautiful, and some people call it a part of a holographic experience in our life. And that's why if we meditate and think on things, we make them happen with our own quantum thought, okay, like that. Maybe it does have a balance there, but if that's the truth, it makes me wonder then, okay, if we're living in something and it is kind of in a way like a computer related experience, how does that explain the hunger that we get? That, we need to eat. We are functioning as a person, but yet we're kind of like in a half cartoon and half, really? Because I don't see it that way. But some people do explain it that way in sciences. So it's something just to think about. And on Omicron, it seems that, people aren't really, they're getting sick, but they're not going through anything really bizarre or weird. Just do all the preventive measures that you need to do. Take your vitamins, drink a lot of fluids, including water. Buy the best water you can. Really do your research on it. That would really help. One of the other things too that always made me feel that Trump put a challenge out to the deep state is when he walked from the White House over to the church and he held up a book. I talked about that repeatedly. To me, I always said that was a challenge. And I don't think he held up like the White House Bible. I really think he had a copy of possibly the Old Testament. People tried to screenshot it, and that brought me back to that narrative of, a little bit. What was the purpose behind it? Because in the Old Testament, his name's in it. And sort of a prophecy. I don't know. It's just one of those things. But if you look into things like that, then look into the Anunnaki and Enki and Enlil. And I think his sister's name was Nethersing. I could be wrong. Maybe that was, I think it was a sister. And one was good and one wasn't. And we were part of a so-called experiment, much of what's explained in books that weren't allowed back in. And there are narrations around some of this and some of the books out there who everybody knows about. Yeah. So anyway, I thought I'd bring that kind of stuff up tonight just for a minute and whatnot. But I'm going to do like a really big review tomorrow night with a guest on YouTube, and we're going to probably stream it down through Facebook here and so forth. Also, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Jesuits, okay? And people don't really realize how far they go back and what power they had and the partnership that they had, even though they had an internal war with the Vatican in ways, just same as the Templars, and how deep it goes and how much is exposed from it. The reason I bring it up because of the place we're in right now and what we're living. We have a Jesuit priest up there. Well, I don't even know if you want to call him a priest, but I guess somehow they ordain him through whatever, and now he's a pope. And we did have mysterious step-offs. So remember the mysterious step-outs that happened with popes, and then he was kind of like selected, put in place. So, yeah, Jesuits, it ties together with the Vatican. It ties together with all the fundings and backings of global banks and more. And it's true. It's true because they convinced people, and a lot of the American people when they came here. I mean, you got all these mass envelopes. You didn't want to show up without any money in that envelope. And they wanted your name on it. They wanted to know how much you were given. If they didn't like what you were given, you were kind of told about it. And even recent, over the past few years, Presbyterian churches, and I know this is a personal experience, not that I'm Presbyterian, but I worked in one. And they wanted to know what you made, and they wanted you to make out a financial report. And if you were dying on your deathbed, they would send a representative out to get you to sign papers before your family could get to you to discuss anything. And I know for a fact they did it. And I'd be more than happy to disclose who that person, place, and thing was. And I'm so happy I'm out of that hellhole. I chose to do that, But the bottom line is this. These kind of things exist. It's corruption of greed and money. And these pastors where I was at, they were riding around all brand new Corvettes and more and getting their homes paid for, getting a really heavily compensated check, never being there, coming for 15 minutes and then not even wanting to do their job. And that was the kind of guy I was surrounded with. He was a dirtbag. He didn't represent God. He didn't represent the word. I mean, I talked to him on the side. I really did because of what I do. And I am ordained, so I know. And I just listened and observed. And I'm telling you, the corruption is so deep. And I do believe this Jesuit order this was all a partnership, and it still exists. But there's things on levels out there that we don't understand either. In many ways. Again, I'm not going to bring it up here tonight to try to blow anybody's mind on it. Please look under America Disclosing Uncensored on Sundays or tomorrow night. Go on YouTube and check out the show that I do, the Dark Radio Network Project. And it's pretty good. Hey, Mark Osborne's in. How are you, Mark? Good to have you in. Best still around. Really good pastor work on nothing. Yeah, well, that happens. Let me look through some of the comments. And if anybody wants to call in, please do it through Messenger. Please, I welcome you in to do it and make conversation with me. If that's the direction we go, it's all good. I have no problem with it. Strange on the thing, stepping down. And yeah, it was very strange. Deborah, think about it, man. Everything's been a place of order. And, if you think about what this guy came out and did, and he even said, he made an announcement, even on his own Facebook page, that said, if you believe in God, you're nuts, basically. And that's exactly what he put on his Facebook page. Nancy is on Best page. Yeah, I don't know who's on what. Google Earth is finding tribes who have been cut off from society for hundreds of years, wondering if they think when they will see airplanes because they have been deep in there. Well, yeah, we know that there are certain types of tribes out there that still live like that, that are buried out there. I've watched many shows on that kind of stuff. I really have. That's part of what my whole 47 years into this deep dive was, that brought me in to understanding what the politics was, because it showed up in everything that I was researching in many ways. The unbelievable amounts of our tax dollar money. Do you realize how wealthy our country would be if we had reputable people in place in the government? I mean, truthfully, yeah, we could always help a country or feed a starving civilization of some sort deep in the Amazon. It wouldn't even matter. And did you see down in the Amazon? I mean, when you use this ground penetrating radar, how large these cities were, and the Mayans and all this different stuff. I mean, it's just incredible what we're now finding out through technology. But here's the deal. It's been around for 35 years. They're just starting to share it. Now, remember, they got to have their hands on it to make use of it before you can have it. And, our government, but not really our government. The government is just a figment of an entity saying the word government. But it's the people who work within the government or hold the seats in the government that we elect into place. They are the ones with the personal I need to know information platform. And if you're in the circle of the elites, you'll get more information than the goddamn president will. And that's the truth. They're narrating around something here. And I don't like to throw this out there in a bad way, but this isn't all about taking over the world and getting rid of us. I mean, if that's the case, maybe it's all about the zoo planet, just like many people say, the slave world. Maybe that's exactly what it is. Maybe this creation of us is a slave, and they actually made us too good. Because look where we are. And maybe they do want it back. Maybe this planet Nibiru is real. Maybe the Anunnaki, that's all real stuff. I mean, when Trump made a statement the other night, and he says, we will have a savior. And then he said, well, but it won't be me. And he says, it'll be, I don't know. Are we talking about, he was saying your God? And we always know the reflection of God or gods were entities that people saw here. They referred to them as who they saw, and then tried to look like them in some way, try to dress like them in some way, mimic everything that they did. They left information. They had spaceships. They had this. They had astronauts. I mean, why is all this stuff out there if they didn't see this stuff? They put down what they saw. And they always did it through time. They did it through time. And there's many, many books. And it makes me wonder, and I could put it to you maybe like in a different enlightenment here, if I can find it. Maybe I can find it. Maybe I got so many notes. It's pathetic. I don't know. Let me look here. Having fun is what it's about, going through all these things. I might have it in my other notebook. Let me take it. All right. Maybe this is it. Let me think how I can deliver this to you in a good way where you enjoy it, though. I like mind bends. I don't know. Some people don't appreciate me for them. They tell me I sugarcoat it. No, I withhold things to keep creative for you, but also because sometimes all the information is truly not in place. But enlightening somebody helps to get them on the right path. Then they help me doing their own research, and believe it or not, people are like, hey, you were right. You mentioned this. Look what I found. Bingo. I needed help, and it worked. But the truth of the matter is, I don't talk about it in a way that ever makes anything negative. I really try not to. And if somehow I come off that way to you or you personally, I'm not being that way. If I fight you on the issue, it's because I actually have information or papers that reflect it exactly the way it is. And then I stand my ground. Because a lot of people are still, hey, come on, man, this guy's dead. Comey's dead. For a while, Hillary Clinton's dead. Why are we seeing these people? I mean, are they clones? Are they that good? Then we must all agree that this military in China is nothing but clones, right? We have to agree to that. If we don't agree to it, then she's still living. She's still there. She's still around, just as many other are. And you can name movie stars, and same deal. And you know who some of these people are. And if you really look at some, what I really love was the award show. I can't remember the comedian's name to come up, but I mean, he chopped these people into pieces on what he had to say. And I really think he was a plant somehow helping Trump out without a doubt. And I'm not joking on that because, man, he just ripped them new asses everywhere and said anything he wanted and mentioned names, mentioned drop, mentioned rituals, mentioned satanic, and he threw it out there. And to me, that was a Trump disclosure, just not being mentioned by Trump's name, and not a joke. You guys know you had to see this. I mean, it was out there, and many people feed it into the narrative of what we're living in right now. I mean, Hollywood's faces were falling into the cameras. They didn't know what to say, how to act, what to do, and that's the true case scenario. So if all these people are dead, and all we're seeing are these, manufactured entities, possibly with some type of consciousness and skillfulness of a super soldier, then I guess they can make Hollywood dream. And maybe we haven't seen these people. Maybe they're not even real people. Maybe they have always been some type of, we want to think more of. But I got to tell you, I worked in the movies, and that's not a lie. I have pictures all around me with places and stuff and people, D.B. Sweeney and Julianne Moore and Peter Falk and Sudden Death that I did with Jean-Claude Van Damme, Striking Distance with the girl from Sex and the City, the long blonde hair. I can't think of her name off the top of my head. I see the face, but I can't think of the name. And more, and not a great more, but these people were alive. I'm telling you, man. I hung out and partied with them. We had events that took place. Now, you didn't always go up and just stand with them, and that was the whole ticket to it all. And Powers Booth put me on the spot. He really did. I'm telling you, he was as real as they come. But that doesn't mean that we're not living in this turmoil. So anyway, it's strange. It is. It's all strange. Did everybody have a good day? And does anybody want to call in? I thought Nancy was calling in. Hey, Jake's watching. What's up, brother? How are you? Yeah, so, when you work around these movies, you do get to learn stuff. You never look at a movie the same way twice. You just don't. You know what they're doing. You know how they're green screening. And, I mean, really, I one time I had to hang up a picture that Kodak created. It cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this, to make it look like someone was fighting in a place that was high in the sky. Meanwhile, they were on the ground. Okay? But this picture was an allusion to the shot of the fight that made it look like they were like 1,000 feet in the air. Not 1,000, but very high up, okay? In a dangerous location. So there was a platform built for this dangerous looking location, all made out of wood, some metals, but wood. And then this picture behind it made it look like a whole different element. And it's surprising what special effects can do. And they can do it. They can create. And that's why people bust so many narratives of fake flying saucers and all these other things, too. People are out there now. It's almost as regular on your own computer. If you download the apps for these things, I can make myself look like something else if I wanted to. Why do it, man? I'm happy with me. Oh, Steven. Hey, how you doing, man? Steven came in. Beth is watching again. Nancy's not going to call. I told her to when she asked earlier because I didn't know what the hell she was talking about. Oh, there's Dave Youngkins messaging me. Does anyone know Dave Youngkins out of Pittsburgh? Man, he's a WWF superstar, WWE superstar. He's a good friend of mine. He was actually a doorman in one of my clubs. And that's a true story. Big mother. No joke. He hit me one time in my head with his fingers. It felt like lead pipes coming across. Honestly, he stunned the hell out of me. Fantastic wrestler. No joke. Fantastic wrestler out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Now was a councilman in Munhall, Pennsylvania. And I was really happy to help support him. I don't know what I did, but I did the best I could. And all I know, he succeeded. And now he's on council in Munhall. And he's one of us. He's going to fight for the people. He's going to be there. Just like Jonathan Garcia, who I keep trying to promote. Now, Jonathan's been MIA. I know he works a lot of hours, but I'm hoping to get something together with him where we can do like a one-on-one day kind of thing. And I'm looking forward to that happening because there's some dates and big rallies down there that I was invited to go to, and I'm trying to confirm the dates and times. So that's pretty cool. Keep the platform moving in a good way. You know what I'm saying? So, Lady Macbeth is still on. And Jen, hi Jen, how are you? You coming on for the Christmas show? We got to like hang out and talk about Christmas and all your cookies and all your good fun things, just to like, we got to do something different. But all the girls that come on to the show and the guys, I really want to recruit them all and try to put them together as a package where we just come on and torment each other and talk about narratives and our mistakes and our downfalls between us all, how we argue, and sometimes have great successes with shows and more, because it's important. It really is. And some forms and fashions, you got to leave some things go. You got to sometimes leave some things go. But hey, prayers to Jess. I hope the family's doing good and everything. I just want to say hello and Merry Christmas to your whole family. You guys are rock stars down there. I can't wait to have you on, and I need to know when you're free. You got to like let me know, like what's your schedule like, so I can get all you girls on and stuff that's been on the shows and stuff. Do one with the girls, do one with the guys. Say Merry Christmas to everybody out there, and build this panel of 10 that we're working on, where everybody specializes in something. And believe me, there's specialty people coming into the to that American Disclosure Uncensored, and it's going to really help build a platform of good science and good opinion and awareness, because many people that I'm pulling in specialize independently in fields. And that will be really good to narrate on stuff and try to deliver information that helps, because we're in an informational platform zone in the United States. And a lot of what I'm going to tell you will navigate into where we are. The Dark Winter Project. It's one of my fears right now. If you guys know what it is, really. Dark Winter. Maybe you want to go on your computer and put it in, okay? But all I can tell you, it has to do with bio. It has to do with our military. It has to do how they would handle things coming if an incoming event was to happen. And it makes me wonder why nobody's doing anything now, because it's this mysterious waves that keep coming in. To me, it's not always about a carrier. And I don't think it's about it. They want you to say it's transmissible. They want to point these things out. It's transmissible. It works this way. It's 6 feet apart, yet spit goes 20 feet. Come on. Unreal. Are they cloaking us with it up there? Have you seen these lines that don't go away but break up and mystify until there's a barrier of all whitish silver gray, which is because of the silver and the barium and the aluminum and the strontium and whatever the hell else that's coming down on us that always does fall? True facts. And I don't want to keep bringing it up, but I'm telling you what, I fear it. And the reason I'm putting the Dark Winter is people are talking, and now the vibe's coming out, how we are going to have a wave of very severe climate effect issues in certain areas. And one of the terms that were used was Dark Winter. And I was like, a light bulb went off in my head. Really? Dark Winter. I know that. Why do I know it? So I go back. I'm looking through all these stacks. I mean, I got a stack of stuff right here. Honestly, I got thousands of pages of stuff. And boom, it took me forever. I found it. And then I thought to myself, why don't you just look it up? You forget. And I did. But I double checked it to see if there was any other information. Google is allowing it on. I'm surprised. I'm shocked. They basically removed a lot of the productivity that educates us, where theorists can get grab and run with research. Okay. But it's out there. So if you look up Dark Winter Project, U.S. military, it's all about bio and defense and more. And meaning if they've been practicing it, they know how not to protect you as well to protect you. Do you get my drift? Why did they mention? Is it just slip of the tongue? Is it just a narrative that no one thought of, that there might be a project out there named that, and they just, it's going to be a dark winter, dark, cold winter. It's going to be a dark winter. And it was like a couple times, and it triggered in my mind because I studied on it like years back, and I was like, I read about all this. Please look into it. Better be safe and sorry on everything we do in life. And that's just a true fact of where it is. I haven't seen Eric Barton lately. Where's Eric been? I know he's been on. every once in a while, I have to get my processor to refresh because it seems like my messages freeze up. Oh, yep, they did freeze up. So I was getting a little bit here. I'm sorry. I am going to look up that dark wet winter. Go look it up right now. We all have to stock up on cords of wood and good generator. Who in the heck do these elites think? Well, you know what, Jen? We've talked about this. Me and you, honestly, for almost 2 years, we've been pretty good friends, maybe a year and a half. And I've touched a lot of bases on a lot of things. And I was successful in my words. And I'm trying to be here to give empowerment and knowledge to people. Everything that I talked about tonight has a reason and a focus point to it. And when I tell you I need to get more information, but what I'm giving you is because it was what was given to me, like the 4T Santa 5, that correlates with dates. It correlates with dates. And one would be Christmas, and one would be the Orthodox Christmas Eve, which is 10-SIXTH, the 6th. Okay. You know that date, that horrifying date where people now are being sentenced because of it. And we're still fighting the government. I'm talking into my processor like I got somebody in front of me instead of looking at the camera. I apologize. But I'm trying to concentrate on what I'm saying at the same time. But it's the truth. Is this something big? Is there a possibility that we're going to see something? Did anybody listen to the speech or take a look at the speech that I posted from Donald Trump? Maybe they removed it. I don't know. I try to send it out privately to some people because I feel some of the people that I do know, their mission is to get it out there across all their, personal pages and stuff to let people review it and whatnot. But if you listen to it, military is very strong, implied very strongly, as well as a point to the sky, a mention of God, and I don't know, is it the rod of God? Is there more to the element of, are we talking about himself, our God? Points up, I don't know. So people are trying to understand what he said, because people do readings on people when they talk and so forth, and people do study Trump. And I have a couple young ladies that talk to me, and they were thinking kind of the same things I was in ways. Hey, Sheila Shepard is on. Welcome. And Sheila Shepard. She's a rock star warrior. Yeah, we talked offline, I think. I'm not sure. I talked to a lot of people, but I know we've been talking. Great person. She's been checking into the group, into the rooms. If you're not a member of all the rooms, it's fine. Everything sort of circulates back to all the groups anyway. You'll be fine. And remember, it's all about a Merry Christmas this year. That was stressed out too. So that was stressed out. I'm not trying to do any wishful thinking here. That's not what I'm doing. But it seems like there's a narrative to something, a vibe being pushed through. I'm going to look it up. So I think Deborah is doing that. Next pandemic. You know what the next pandemic is, don't you, Sheila? Sheila Shepard. What's the next pandemic? I'm not putting you on the spot. Do you know? I mean, I'm calling it climate. Honestly, they failed again, and we're going to be through another wave. So if you count the months, what can happen next? Catastrophic weather. Does that make sense to anybody? Because Delta even took a pause. And then we had to sweep into this. So there's going to be a skip. And right now, we're in the worst case scenario we've ever been in the hospitals. The problem is, it's not from the new wave. It's really not. Has there been a couple deaths? Yeah. Yeah. But the numbers are even less than the flu. But it doesn't mean that, it's not true. Also, scientifically, we know how it's working, that it is finding its way back into the lungs and infecting the lungs. That can only be done of a source of by a creation of a man's hand, according to the geniuses out there. I'm not one of them. I'm going by looking for 2.5 hours like this for anything. And then boom, there's your one interview with somebody that is very strong in the community, that makes sense, is well educated, worked in all the best places, and he makes an announcement. And that's what happened here. And again, it goes back to another direct attack. And here we are being manipulated, as we always are, as every wave has been, and the next one that shall come. The problem is, I think we're going to settle down here. This is my view, okay? And I'm not going to be wrong. I can't be wrong, because it's just a separation of it. And then when they can no longer feed it to you because of if they are arrow spraying it, it will kill it. That's why they're trying to keep us warm in certain areas, and that's why there's higher infectious rates, okay? And I really believe that that's true. The spreading happens more. Once the weather drops down to whatever, or you're at zero, like a normal winter will become, nothing's going to work. So what do? They create catastrophic storms, and they put you into a lockdown. The lockdown may not happen in every damn state across the United States, but you bet your ass it's going to happen. Just like, hey, look what happened in Texas. Houses were freezing. The storm came in from, come on, man. They didn't even come in from the ocean. No, that wasn't the character. It went towards so it accelerated in a different path. They lost all their power grids and more. All the plumbing bursted and broke in everyone's house. Do you remember how devastating that was? And Biden administration didn't want to give nothing. Then you had that horrific hurricane to come through, and that destroyed mass land. Now you have these 22 tornadoes plus with wind damages in Michigan and everywhere else. That even happened, where power outages into the hundreds of thousands. This has all been a test, just the same as the virus. But if we refuse it, and Jen's absolutely right, have your extra wood, your extra additional heating, a generator, your gasoline, things that you need. I have mine. If I need to go get it, I can go get it, or I can go to a different location, and it's already pre-set up there. It just depends upon how I want to narrate it and how long I would have to project I'd be gone for. And that's the truth of the matter. So I have more than I have things in place. I'll just say that. I'm not trying to put myself out there as some rock star that way. But I took action. But not only that, in my life, I found the necessity to need a generator. So I had it because it operated my big welder. So I got these things, and I was always on the hunt on Craigslist and different things. And, I bought things. And then I bought weaponry, and I got my Jennings bow, and I got these things. I mean, I'll eat, I'll do whatever. And I bought well. So I'll be safe, and I hope you guys will. We can only hope that we do all the best things and that we don't have to suffer any catastrophic events here in Pennsylvania. But we know we're getting all these events in Pennsylvania. We're having mudslides, houses come off hills, erosion that's unbelievable over the past 4 to 5 years, actually. And it's all verifiable, and it's all true. And, they had to condemn homes, and insurance companies weren't paying because they didn't have the proper writer write it up, and no one ever thought that it would ever happen anyway. And that's what always happens. That's what always happens. Now, when you get an insurance policy, it's not written to do anything. It's totally against you. One of the catch-22s why they're giving that $9,000 away that's not getting out there to help people bury and so forth is because if you took a contaminant and died from it, you played a party to your own death. They were rejecting insurance claims on deaths. So I haven't heard a word in a long time that any of that's been changed or it's been challenged, but I'm sure there's court cases coming up because I do know of a couple where people never got their, payment, death benefit on a spouse that because of work, they had to do what they had to do. And one of the things about people taking a jab to go to work, why would you be so foolish You know, you could get the jab today, and tomorrow they could fire you, or Biden could put the world in lockdown, and you never go back to work, but you got the jab. Do you not see how many narratives they have? How many ways they'll push it at you? This is true factual stuff. I mean, think about this, okay? You're on the line. If somebody said to me, Michael, you got to get the shot. You make $65,000, $70,000 a year. Go do it. Maybe I would have to consider it. I get where you're at. But you also have to consider how fast this new government, this administration, willfully can change the conduct of business and the economy and the entire United States of America. The only ones that are really protecting their states is 4 states tops, okay? And one of them, is DeSantis, okay? And he's just a rock star. So's Abbott. I mean, look, they're figuring how to create money to build this wall, and that started again, but it's going to protect basically all of Texas, okay? So they're going to be like working to finish and close off and seal off all the empty holes and do whatever's necessary. So that's good stuff. Let me see, like farmer locking down a herd. Well, how many herds were lost this year, Deb? Let me ask you that way. They couldn't even harvest the meat. They're talking that they were going to either have to destroy them or just basically sell everything, way below marginal pricing, because there's a peak for how you raise cattle. And there's a time element where it's at its best. And the government was funding people, and the people with money were going in, buying the entire crops, as we all know, and destroying them, dumping milk all over roads, as well as oil. Oil's no joke. Yes, do they spray oil on bagged royal dirt roads? Yes. It's always been common. EPA never thought it to be an environmental problem. But how they're doing it now from private wells are to empty them, destroy them. And I mean, when you look at the sides of the roads now, they're black because they just piped the oil out along the sides. And that's the truth of the matter. Boy, the research groups are busy tonight on Messenger. They surely are. So, yeah. Anyway. It's just crazy stuff. So you can ask yourself this, or maybe how do you ask yourself this? I brought it up earlier. Is humankind in this like dome? Or is it just a container for us? Has everything just been placed? All this vastness and all these visitors talked about, more than what we know and call as ETs. Could we have all been captured in some ways for something, for someone's purpose? Is that the true element of our existence? What if it is true? And if that's true, and that's how we're created, one must ask themselves, what created them? It surely wasn't the ones that created us. Then you have to ask yourself, if something created us, something created them, then you might want to ask yourself, well, what created those? And what came before those? Was it them? How deep does this go? And how many books is in the Vatican that may be able to disclose this existence of mankind and possibly extraterrestrials and everything above them even? And remember, when you focus here, thinking about maybe that, the world is for the future of the children. And if we are an ever-ending life of light, spiritual light, that functions with intelligence, in or out of the body. May we not come back as the children. Got to ask yourself. It's a little mind-bending, but it's true. You know, if we've been created through somebody's ingenious hands, call them whatever you want, and now we have parts of their blood in us and their DNA makeups from all different, what the hell created them? We're seeing all kind of weird things in the skies, more than ever before in the reports. I mean, they're into the thousands. And every day I'm seeing new things. And yes, are fakes out there by all means. And that's where the specialty people come in. Video photography people who are going to come in, be in the group, and be able to help decipher that as well. Be able, not just UFOs, Bigfoot, skinwalkers. It doesn't matter. They're going to look at the things and try to decipher. So we have something that analyze and talk about every week, you know, bringing more news out there, because it's a big vastness, just like the same with the, you know, the ghost and spiritual, the nomic, and everything else that's out there. We got to ask these things, because this is our planet as we see it. This is our America as we see it. This is our oath. This is a worldwide global issue, phenomena happening everywhere, as well as this pandemic of a phenomenon. And we're dealing with it. And we're just trying to nurture the information, decipher it better. And that's the panel of 10, what it stands for. Bringing you the best solid information, letting you see things, letting you hear documentaries and more by people much greater than my voice. I just put the narrations together from everybody, collect the information, pass it on to you, and let it go from there. And that's the truth. Sorry about the fast talk. That's the truth of the matter. It really is. Wow, Christmas. Anybody send to me anything? I didn't even get a card. I didn't. True story. I didn't even get a card. No worries. I'm fine with that. I think I got one from my son, actually, because I married my son and my daughter-in-law. And I think, yeah, I looked at it for a minute. I forgot. Apologies. If you're listening to me, apologies. It had some of his wedding stuff on it. These kids are creative, and boy, do they love big ass weddings. God, phenomenal weddings, horses and weddings. Hello, Lynn Summer. How are you? And Cowboy. But it was fun marrying them. It was. So I married a couple people in the last month and a half or whatever it was, 2 months. And I'm glad to see that, because that's a core family value that people want to be together. You know, that they will be determined to have a life if they find the right partner in life. And I'm more than happy to show up to, you know, put them through hell to get them to say I do. And I put them through hell. I truly do. I make them work for it. And it's a pleasure doing it, because it creates a different type of mood and atmosphere. I like making people laugh at my comments, my gestures, and my thoughts that I come up with. And, you know, I was actually hoping I had a Christmas Day wedding, but the party that I was talking to decided to wait and put it off because of what we're going through. And I guess they were offered their money back if they wanted to, and they got nervous. Not from me, I don't charge, but I would do it for somebody if they wanted somebody to do it. I'll sign off on the papers. I don't care. But yeah, I think they just got nervous about the size of the wedding and where we're at in America. That saddens me, you know. And I'm not saying I want to marry a bunch of people, but here, I wonder if it's legal, because I would have virtually married somebody, you know, put them on there, put them through holy hell, and split screen them to me and put them through their vows and send me the papers. I'll send them back to you signed. I'd have to look, but I think that's possible, actually. Maybe I should do it, because there's nothing more beautiful than a great relationship in life. You know, whether you have it with God, a love of work, love of cars, whatever you find that finds you peace. Connect with that and stay strong to that. And remember the values of that this Christmas. Anybody cooking anything different this year? I'm looking for some ideas. Izzy's back watching again, or she's never left and it's just reminding me. No. Well, I guess the sun is faded, and so is some of the crowd. It's getting late. I get it. People have to go to work, and they're going to be Christmas shopping, baking, starting to cook. What are we? 3 days away almost? Almost. I say it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, wow, 3 days. Pretty impressive. You know what? A lot of people celebrated Christmas Eve too. So there you got a couple days. I can understand if no one's on or around. So tomorrow night, I'm going to definitely do the Dark Radio Network project, and in radio format form, it's going to stream to 5 places and the Facebook here, but there's not going to be any video. Okay. It's just going to be all word of conversations of different topics and whatever comes up. And I don't know. Beth might be on tomorrow. Anyway, I'm going to see if I can get all the girls together. And maybe we get to see who's actually behind the glass, who helps. We got some really rock star warriors out here in America. They've all been helpful. They're all warriors of the 10. That's what I tell everybody. They're the product of the 10. That's why, when I talk about the 10 commandments, 10 laws, and, here, 10 laws, the very important number to me. Just a very important number to me. But I want to thank you guys for, stepping in. Do me a favor. If you see me on tomorrow night, just hit the subscribe button, because I have a suspicion come the first of the year, I'm probably not going to be here no more. Not by my doing, but by theirs. And no, I haven't been threatened, but I do know that I have a friend that works somewhere. We'll just say that. I know somebody, and I can call them, and they kind of guide me around things, and it's kept me safe. However, they're doing a whole platform slam within the first 2 weeks of January. So if that's the case, I'm probably going to be going, bye-bye. All these thousands and thousands of views, some of the same people, fine, squashed. That's all right. It was like that on YouTube, and it was way higher than what I just described to you, and that was squashed. So it doesn't matter. So back to the Dark Network Project Radio. Come on, we'll do some interesting conversation. Hopefully in America tomorrow won't be too bad. The worst of today was Biden's announcements, but he's not really pushing a narrative of lockdown yet. But he is suggesting that everybody acts like an American. You go to America to do this. Not. Who the hell are you to say that to us? You work for us. And that's the truth of the matter. You work for us, the people. America sucks. Our American politicians suck. They truly do. They're terrible. So we deal with them. And that's why I tell everybody, tell them F you. Laugh at them. Laugh them in their face. Enjoy your Christmas. Put Mary in front of it since it's back. And enjoy your day with your family, or even your lonesome old selves if you have to. Watch good movies. And if you're a woman, you're alone, chick flicks, bonbons, and a box of tissues. I don't know. Or, send a message to your friends. Talk to your friends on Messenger, or send them an email. Whatever. Share your thoughts. Somebody will talk to you. And Rich Lopez. Hey, Richard. How are you, brother? Yeah. So in America, here we are. Thanks for coming in, guys. I appreciate it. Beth talked me into going on tonight. She goes, Michael, really, people won't mind. Why don't you come on tonight and just talk for a little while? And I didn't mind. And you guys didn't seem to mind. And thank you for the support and jumping in and talking. Remember, do your homework on Dark Winter. Always keep the thought and preparations in mind. Always do that. And keep your faith strong. Be the strength for the children. Never let them see fear or worry on your face. Always have a smile for them. And let them know always everything's good. Everything's going to be okay. Better that we adults do what we need to do with these matters for sure. But in some cases, they do understand they're under fire themselves in schools, more and mandates. And we're going to have to always be able to willfully discuss everything necessary with them. But, for the instance in this holiday, Let everybody find peace, peace on earth, just like the words say from the good old songs and structures of America that are now pretty much swept under the rug on us. But it doesn't mean we can't retrieve them. Yeah, lift up your couch. You might find some coins in it. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. There's always something better out there. You'll come up with it. So thanks for checking in tonight. I greatly appreciate you. I hope you'll check me out tomorrow. I'll be with Mr. Dave Parker. We'll be doing the dark segment. Please join in. Thanks, guys. Don't judge me. I won't judge you. I know I'm out there on some of my theories, but I guarantee you, 4T Santa 5. I was asked to say it.